Hello and welcome to another episode of my Productivity Mastery series. My name is Carl Pauline and this week I want to share with you a few simple tips and tricks that you can use if you suddenly find yourself having to work from home. Now, because of the unprecedented chaos that's going on in the world caused by the coronavirus, many of you I know are finding themselves being forced into working from home. And you probably have always felt that working from home was a very easy thing to do. And perhaps right now you're discovering, well, actually, it's not so easy, which is actually quite true. It isn't actually that easy to be working from home. And I just want to share a couple of tips with you that may just help you to get the most out of this experience, hopefully before the coronavirus disappears, if it ever does, and we can all go back to our normal lives. Now, the first thing that I really want to stress about this is when you suddenly find yourself having to work from home, the first thing you need to do is to build a structure. Now, when you're working in your office, when you're working in your workplace, you woke up at a particular time in the morning, you had your shower, your coffee, your breakfast, you left the house, and however way you commuted to work, you had a journey. Now, you were doing that at the same time every morning. Monday to Friday, you woke up at the same time, you did the same thing, you left the house at the same time, and you arrived at the office at roughly the same time each day. Suddenly, when you're working from home, essentially all you have to do now is roll out of bed, go to the bathroom, make your coffee, sit down, turn on your computer, and you're at work. So suddenly that whole structure's disappeared. The second thing that you'll find is that you might find that you think, oh, well, the kitchen is over there. I can make a sandwich at any time. So you start taking lunch at different times. Whereas when you worked in the office, you took your lunch at a specific time of day. And the same at the end of the day, you found that you had a finish time, say 5:30 or 6 p.m. You would finish and go home and follow the commute back home. Suddenly, it's now just a case of like saying, okay, it's 6 o'clock, I've finished. You need to make sure that you're building that structure into your day. So that's the first thing. Make sure you're starting your work at the same time, you're taking the breaks at the same time, your lunch at the same time, and you're finishing the day at the same time each day. Now, the second thing that I think is really important is that you need to make sure you're moving. Now, when you're working in an office, when you're working outside of your home, you are moving. You're moving from your office to the meeting room. Hopefully you're commuting, so you're catching the bus, you're using a train. And even if you're using a car, you have to get outside, you get into your car, you drive to work, you park your car, and you walk into your office. Now, all of that's gone. You essentially roll out of bed, turn on the kettle, make coffee, and you're at work. So suddenly you're no longer moving. And the key part is you need to be making sure that you have activity still in your day. Now, what I find is really useful is if you actually start doing housework in the breaks. It's great exercise. Scrubbing a wall in your bathroom is a really good way of getting some exercise. And also like cleaning up, vacuuming and polishing and dusting. All those things are actually making sure that you're building some movement into your day. So in between sessions of work, build in some housework. Next up you could do is you take the stairs in your house and spend 5 minutes running up and down the stairs. Just get some movement in, because remember, although it might not seem that you're moving very much during your normal working day, it's when you start working from home that you discover that you've suddenly stopped moving and you realize you actually moved quite a lot when you were at work. So make sure you're still moving. If you're not in an area that's locked down, then go out for a walk or something like that. If you are locked down, then just head out into your garden or into your drive, or find a place where there's no other people so that you can practice social distancing and make sure that you get that movement in. And another thing that I really think is very important when you're working from home is actually when you finish for the day, you shut down your computer and you clean up your working area. Now, of course, if you're not working at home normally, you're probably having to improvise a table or a desk. You may be using your dining table, or you may be using a table in a room somewhere. But whatever happens, when you finish for the day, make sure that you're closing down your computer. You shut it down. You tidy up the files that you've been working. You tidy up any notebooks or pens that you've been using. Just make sure that you use a ritual to close down at the end of the day, and then don't enter that workspace for the rest of the day unless you absolutely have to. Remember, the hardest part about working from home is actually having barriers between your work and your home life. And you need to create those barriers. So make sure that you're closing down your computer. Make sure you clean up the works area that you've used, and so that it can become a more domesticated area. And really, that's about it. I think the key part is making sure you have a structure, making sure you have a plan for the day, the plan of work that you're going to do, and making sure, of course, that your family understands that you are still working even though you are at home. Because if you've got a family around you and young kids and your brothers and sisters or whatever, that can cause a really huge distraction and can drag you away from doing your work. So make sure everyone in your household truly understands that you are at work. Also make sure that you are taking your normal breaks, because you do still need to take a break. Make sure you're moving, and make sure at the end of every day that you are closing down. If you can follow that, if you actually have a little bit of structure and you have a plan for the day, you're going to find that working from home is a lot less difficult than many people are suddenly discovering. Well, hopefully these tips have helped you. I have put a bit more of this details into my weekly newsletter, and if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, details of that are in the notes below, so please check that out. It'd be great to see you be great to be able to write to you every week and give you some tips and tricks on productivity and essentially getting the most out of the things that we use every day. Well, thank you very much for watching this episode. Please stay safe, and it just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very productive week. Thank you very much for watching this video. Now I have a question for you. Are you ready to go beyond the to-do list? Now, the reason I ask that question is because your to-do list is never going to do the work for you. Your to-do list is only ever going to show you what needs to be done. And that often can cause a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, and a lot of overwhelm. What really helps you to get your work done, and what really helps you to become much more productive, is developing your own workflow. A workflow that you work from every single day, that makes sure that you stay focused on the things that you have identified are the most important things to you. Now that could be your work, it could be your goals, it could be your family, it could be your personal life, it could be your self-development. Whatever that is entirely personal to you. But the key is to develop the workflow so that you are consistently making small steps towards achieving the things that you want to achieve every single day. And that's why I have developed my Productivity Mastermind course, creating your very own custom workflow. And I would love for you to check out the course. The course is available now, details of which are in the notes below, and I would just love to see you in this course. So please join me in the Productivity Mastermind course, developing your very own custom workflow, because this is a course that's going to take you way beyond the to-do list, so that you start to really move forward on the goals and the things that you have identified are important to you. Thank you very much.